And here they are, our CBS 21 News political insiders. On your right, Charlie Giroux, our Republican strategist, and Tony May, our Democratic strategist, with us. We have a lot to talk about.
We do. We want to begin overseas today with the passing of Margaret Thatcher. She had a huge impact, not only across the world, but also here in the United States. And Charlie, you knew her firsthand.
Well, I didn't know her firsthand, but I had the opportunity to be with her and President Reagan on occasion and witness firsthand the remarkable relationship between these two icons of our world. Margaret Thatcher loved freedom, as Ronald Reagan did. She loved free markets and what the good that they did for free peoples. And she rejected the nonsensical Keynesian notion that had taken Britain to its knees. And through her efforts, Britain came back to where even the liberals, once they took over again, didn't try to go back to the socialist model that they had before she took office. She was just an amazing world leader and a true feminist.
Charlie has an interesting way of looking at history from the conservative economic viewpoint, which is not really functional. I mean, there are two things that need to be observed. One is two tremendously popular political leaders in Ronald Reagan and in Margaret Thatcher, both good friends, soulmates, as Charlie has pointed out, that had really popular support because of the strength of their personalities. You've got to admire and respect that. At the same time, what Margaret Thatcher did even more effectively than Ronald Reagan was to create a war on working people that we are paying the price for still today in terms of much reduced wages. The millionaires are more wealthy and working people have a harder time getting by. People aren't going to forget that even in Great Britain.
You know, Tony has a problem with history because in 1979 they called it the winter of discontent. Garbage was piled up in the streets. Every trade union, which were all government workers at that point because the government had taken over everything, was on strike. They had unemployment running way, way, way into double digits. The top tax rate, which would have made Tony happy, was 83%. The place was a mess. It was on the verge of collapse. And Margaret Thatcher brought them back from the brink and put Britain back to work, revived its economy, and with Ronald Reagan and the Holy Father, crushed Soviet-style communism. That's a pretty good legacy.
Yeah. Do you want to respond, or should we move on to the governor?
No, I think we should move on.
All right. Governor Corbett is on an international trade mission right now to South America, so kind of surprising that he called a news conference to talk about the with Pennsylvania reporters to announce that new manufacturing plant that Tanya just mentioned brings 74 jobs to Chambersburg.
From India.
He does it from
India. I mean, in a way, it is sort of a telling story because it shows that the world is really very closely knit. He's standing in Brazil. He's talking about a company in India bringing jobs to central Pennsylvania to stockpile a plant that is owned by someone in Sweden. So maybe it all makes sense. I don't know.
A lot of pieces.
I don't know what the great shock is. I think it's reason for celebration, not surprise. Pennsylvania is going to be getting 75 new jobs that will help Pennsylvania's family, help Pennsylvania's economy, and somehow some of our friends are worried about where those jobs are coming from. They're coming here. That's the good part. And Governor Corbett's on a trade mission which is going to bring even more jobs here. And the best part is, it's not being paid for by the taxpayers.
All right, well, we have less than a minute. Let's talk about the race for governor because that is getting a little bit bigger. Charlie, we'll begin with you.
I assume you're talking about Allison Schwartz entering.
I am.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. Allison Schwartz joins a lengthening list of Democratic candidates. Congresswoman from Philadelphia and the suburban Philadelphia County of Montgomery, a very liberal Democrat, popular in her own area, but I doubt seriously that her act will play west of Paoli, where her liberalism is going to be rejected even in the Democratic primary.
Tony, your thoughts?
Well, I think that Charlie's wrong about her inherent popularity. Time will tell, but there's going to be a very crowded field because of the bad polling numbers that Governor Corbett has now been exhibiting, and it isn't going to get any better for him as there are more critics entering the field. With Tom Wolf from York County, from Allison Schwartz, word out now that Katie McGinty, a former DEP secretary, would want to join another former DEP secretary, John Hanger, in the race as well. It's going to get very crowded.
Looks like it.
It's going to be a crowded race. It'll be interesting to watch.
All right, Tony May, Charlie Giroux, guys, thank you as always for joining us. And you can catch our political insiders every Tuesday right here on CBS 21 News at 5:30.